What's up, boxing fans? This is TBE Boxing. Today's topic: Deontay Wilder will lose against Tyson Fury for the third time unless he improves his boxing. Let's chop it up and see what it's all about.
Got the money for minutes, pretty bitch, gotta show me titties. This is the life that I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? This is the life that I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? That life for riches, huh? That life for riches, huh? Pretty bitch, show me titties, huh? And I got the glazzy run up on me, I'ma make you get it. I'ma make you get it.
Alright, boxing fans. Let's chop this up and see what we can come up with. So, the fight is coming up soon between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. And as you know, Deontay Wilder, lost the second fight, right? And the first fight was a draw. Okay? So, I mean, the first fight was a draw, supposedly. I mean, as far as I can see, in the first fight, Deontay Wilder lost the first fight. And, as far as I'm concerned, he lost the first fight and he also lost the second fight. He got stopped in the second fight. So, from where I'm standing, it's 2-0 so far. And Deontay Wilder, needs to win the third fight, Now, although it was, judged as a draw in the first fight, I mean, now we have to really be clear. I mean, there's a lot of talk about this glove gate and all of this. I don't know anything about the glove gate. Cheating does go on in boxing, so I'm not saying that doesn't happen. It happens, and as we know, Fury had some issues with some kind of substance, performance enhancing something. He was banned for that. Okay, suspended in England. As a matter of fact, I don't even think his license is any good in England. Okay, I don't think he could even fight in England. But be that as it may, Fury has had some issues with cheating. Now, I don't know about this glove gate. I didn't really investigate it. I'm thinking that, I don't know what to say about it. I can't really say anything about it. I would have to investigate it first, and then we can talk about it. But it doesn't really matter at this point, if we talk about that right now, because based on the first fight and the second, I haven't heard anybody say that Fury cheated in the first fight. Okay, so I haven't heard anybody talk about that. Okay, we just hear about the second fight when he knocked out Deontay. Now, again, like I said, as far as I can see, the first fight, Deontay Wilder lost that fight as well, and we gotta set the stage, because a lot of people talk about Deontay Wilder, the baddest man in boxing. Me personally, I was never a big fan of Deontay Wilder and the way he boxed. I'm not talking about him personally. I don't really know him, so I can't. I'm just talking about his boxing style. I'm not a real fan of his boxing style, because to me it was kind of amateurish, and no real skill there, and he basically just depended on his one punch knockout. Okay, and for most of the opponents that he fought, that was enough, because most of the guys that Deontay Wilder fought, was basically, they weren't really top 10. I don't think any of them was in the top 10. Okay, so most of the guys that Deontay fought was even ranked. Okay, they basically built up his record. Okay, sort of like Gary Russell. It was the same type of scenario where they just padded his record as he was coming up. Fighting nobody's his whole career, basically. And so for the most part, people love to see knockouts. So if you go in there, you knock some guys out, people are gonna come and watch you because they want to see a knockout. That's what most of the casual boxing fans, knockout, and so Deontay Wilder does, have some knockouts. Most of his record is knockout, knockouts. And so yeah, I mean, people that want to see knockouts, it doesn't really matter. You know, most people don't really care if it's against. Most people don't really know that, you know, about the boxers that he's fighting or the boxers that his opponent. So they just see Deontay come in there and knock these guys out. And so, you know, he got some notoriety for that. And you know, he was, you know, making a big name for himself about, you know, knocking these guys out. But these guys weren't really in the competition, so anybody could have knocked these guys out. I mean, you know, with the power that Deontay Wilder had in his right hand, it was no big deal to knock these guys out. And like, you know, again, Deontay is a lot bigger. It was a lot bigger than most of the guys, and so, you know, that had a big part to play in it. You know, he had this very good punch, you know, knockout power in one punch knockout, and so he took full advantage of that against the guys that he fought. Okay. Now, you know, like I said, most of the guys that Deontay fought throughout his whole career was really nobody. He fought nobody really. There's nobody on the record. Okay, except for Tyson Fury. That was the first real elite or top 10 fighter that Deontay Wilder fought. And, you know, just like in the Gary Russell scenario, the first time he faced a top opponent, Deontay Wilder lost, just like Gary Russell did when he lost against Loma. Again, you see, you can build up a guy's record, and you have to do that when you first start out, but you can't keep doing that their whole career, because that, you know, that's going to put them in a position where when they actually do have to fight someone that's good, they won't be prepared for it. And that was the same situation with Deontay Wilder. When he faced Fury, he was never really prepared to face a guy like Fury, because he'd been knocking out, you know, for want of a better word, you know, tomato cans his whole life. So, you know, that doesn't prepare you. It looks good, you know, on TV, but, you know, that doesn't prepare you to face, like, you know, elite competition. And so the first time Deontay faced elite competition, he lost. Okay. Actually, the first and the second time he lost. Okay. So, you know, it is what it is. I mean, we have to, you know, now I understand there's a lot of people out there who are fans, you know, I mean, after a while, when you start, you know, beating all these guys, and then people on, you know, come on TV and, you know, commentate, oh, Deontay Wilder, you know, the knockout man, the baddest man. Yeah, I mean, okay, all that, you know, sounds good and looks good, you know, for TV, okay, but like I said, most of those guys weren't really top competition, and so, you know, looking good against those guys is great for the camera and for TV. But, you know, when you got to face real competition, you're going to have a problem. And we saw that, yeah, Deontay Wilder had a problem, you know. I mean, let's take a look at Deontay Wilder physically, okay? Deontay Wilder is a great physical specimen, okay? Tall, you know, lanky, lean, not overly muscled. You know, he has the perfect, like a great boxer's body. You know, he doesn't have a whole bunch of muscles on top of muscles. He's kind of slim and lean. He has lean muscles, okay? So it's perfect. So just imagine if Wilder actually, you know, trained himself and, you know, actually tried to become a good boxer. Like, you know, let's say if Wilder could box as good as Tyson Fury, he'd be unbeatable. No one, not even AJ, would be able to touch him, okay? Because of that one-punch power. Having the boxing ability and the one-punch power, you know, Deontay Wilder would have been unbeatable. But no, instead of, you know, improving his boxing ability and his technique, he just kept on, you know, relying on the one-punch knockout, okay? He relied on that. I mean, you know, just like how, you know, I mean, Gary Russell would rely on his so-called speed. But when he faced a top-level opponent, then, you know, speed don't really mean much. Okay, and in Deontay Wilder's situation, the one-punch power, his knockout power, didn't really mean much when he had to face someone that knew how to box and make adjustments and, you know, could test him and actually mount an offense against him, as opposed to most of the guys that he fought. And another thing is that most of the guys that Deontay fought was smaller than him. See, so again, Tyson Fury was the first time he actually faced a big guy like his size that could actually fight, box, you know, move. So he couldn't really deal with that, and we saw that. Okay, and so basically in the first fight, you know, Tyson Fury was robbed. Okay, it should have been that fight. You know, he should have won that fight. And we gotta put this into perspective, okay? Because you know, Tyson Fury. I mean, Tyson Fury wasn't in the best shape in that first fight. Okay, not at all. Okay, so Tyson Fury, if anything, he was just coming off of his own, you know, issues with, you know, he had issues with drugs, he was overweight, you know, substances. So Tyson Fury was in very bad shape for that first fight. You know, he wasn't in good shape. He was, and a lot of people didn't think he was serious about fighting Wilder. They didn't take him seriously. They thought that he was just, you know, capping. Okay, when he first mentioned that he would fight Wilder, and me personally, I didn't think he was ready yet. You know, I thought that he might have a slight chance because he's a good boxer. And it's like riding a bicycle. You know, he never really goes away. But I figured that he needed to be in better shape to be able to beat Wilder. I knew he could outbox Wilder, but I didn't think he would be ready so quick. You know, in the shape, basically, you know, in the shape that he was in prior to the Wilder fight. I mean, we saw that he came back and he fought, I think, one or two guys. You know, two tomato cans. He fought, you know, guys that was really, you know, not really up to par. You know, so when I saw those fights, I said to myself, "Ah, he's not ready for Wilder yet. You know, he needs to work some more." You know. But he proved me wrong. Okay, I mean, Tyson Fury proved me wrong. He came out there and basically gave Wilder a boxing lesson. I mean, you know, it was a classic boxing lesson, basically. Okay, so you know, we saw that if anything, you know, he was ready and he did what he had to do. So
hunting, it's away from the ropes, and it's Fury. One part of the Fury game plan. Fury looking a lot better.
Like I said, you know, Wilder needs to improve his boxing ability. Okay, he needs to work on his boxing. Forget about your punching power. Forget it. Don't even factor it in. Just work on learn how to box. And you know, I don't think he's been doing that as much as he's supposed to. Okay, he's been basically thinking that his one punch power is gonna just knock everybody out, and you know, you can't depend on that. Throwing wild, look at those wild punches he's throwing, wild, crazy punches. Okay, so I mean, you know, against a good boxer, you know, that's not gonna work. You know, so I mean, now we have to understand who Wilder is. I always talk about Wilder. I mean, you know, like I said, Wilder got the perfect body for a boxer if he would just train to be a boxer instead of trying to be a, you know, a one-punch knockout artist. Okay, but he's not really doing that. Okay, I mean, Wilder could have fought Klitschko. Okay, he was a champion at the same time that Klitschko was a champion, but he wanted no part of Klitschko. I mean, I heard in the, you know, rumors that Klitschko knocked him out twice in sparring because he used to be Klitschko's sparring partner. So, you know, he had every opportunity, you know, after he got the title to fight Klitschko, but he, you know, his camp, his team, I don't know about him personally, but his team didn't want no part of it. Okay, they didn't want no part of him fighting Klitschko. Okay, they kept. I mean, Shelly Finkel was his manager, and you know, he's on record as saying that, you know, when Wilder won the title, they asked him about fighting Klitschko, and Shelly Finkel said, "Well, you know, Wilder is a baby; he's not ready yet. Okay, we're gonna let him, you know, fight a couple of fights first and see how he's doing as, you know, as a champion. He's not ready yet. He's a baby. How can you be a baby? How can you be a champion and you're a baby? You're not ready to fight, to face competition? Because, I mean, you know, at the time, Klitschko had the other 3 belts. If Wilder had fought Klitschko, he would have been undisputed if he had won the fight. Okay, so I mean, and you know, if he would have fought after he got the title. After Wilder got the title, if he would have fought Klitschko, that would have been like his 34th or 33rd or 35th fight, I believe. So, you know, I mean, come on. I mean, after you know, you're a champion. You can't say the champion is not ready. Either the champion is a baby. So, but you know, that was the way they brought Wilder along. Basically, You know, as a matter of fact, I'm thinking that the only reason that Wilder took the Fury fight was because they didn't think Fury was ready. They thought Fury, you know, was an easy picking, that there was a low-hanging fruit, because although he can box, you know, he, like I said, he had a lot of issues with drugs and, you know, depression, and his weight was like 300, 400 pounds almost. And so nobody really thought that he would be, you know, ever come back to the elite level again. And so, you know, even when he started boxing again, so he was coming back, he was all overweight and out there, you know, boxing these bums. And I'm pretty sure, you know, that's the only reason why Deontay Wilder's camp took that fight, because they thought that, you know, Klitschko's not ready, and I mean, Wilder's not ready. I mean, Fury's not ready, and you know, he does have an O, and if we take that O from him, he's a lineal champ, and if we take that O, then we're in a good position, you know, and blah blah blah. But unfortunately for them, they made a big mistake, and so, you know, even though Fury was only about 60 to 70% of himself, he was able to get a draw against Wilder, and like I said, that, you know, most people believe that he won that fight, okay? And so, you know, he was able to beat Wilder even though he was only 60 to 7%. So, you know, all this talk about glove gate, this, that, and the other, and cheating, that, and the other, I mean, I just don't see Wilder really beating Fury unless, you know, at any time, unless he actually improves on his boxing. Unless he's right now out there, you know, working in secret to improve his boxing skills, there's no way he's gonna beat Tyson Fury. I mean, we just have to be real about that, because, you know, in the second fight we saw Tyson Fury was in better condition, and we saw what happened. Okay, he came in there and just stopped Wilder. Okay, I mean, in the first fight he beat Wilder up. And he was only 60 to 70%. In the second fight, you know, when he was closer to his top condition, we all saw what happened. So, you know, they're gonna fight again supposedly, and you know, a lot of people, you know, are thinking that, you know, Wilder, you know, is gonna do this and he's gonna do that, and you know, he's gonna come out. Well, I like to see it to believe it. I'm not really a fan of the way Wilder fights, and unless he improves
stateside, and that prized label of being the Gypsy King, the Gypsy King has decided upon a unique entry. His white Paris watches on, and like a king would, he has decided.
With all this glove, I mean, I don't know if this glove game talk is just something that somebody came up with for Wilder to save face. You know, I'm not going to say it is. I don't know about it. Like I said,
To the undefeated as a heavyweight champion, this place is ready to roar.
You know, who knows what it is? It could just be a narrative that somebody's pushing. Okay, and you know, it could be that. I don't really know. So I can't really say, but I'm not really concerned about that, you know, at this point. Like I said, Wilder, glove gate or no,
this is always a significant moment for Deontay, and he has expressed it. We are set in a rematch.
Like I said,
Wilder and Fury.
Glove gate in the first fight, and Wilder lost that fight. Okay? Now people say, oh, it was a draw, but even if people say it was a draw, let's say it's a draw. There's no way that Wilder should have had a draw against Tyson Fury in the condition that Tyson Fury was in when he came to when he fought Wilder. He was not in top condition. He was fat, overweight, you know, like I said. So Wilder should have just, you know, crushed him, but that didn't happen. Okay, and this is just to show you that, you know, Wilder just doesn't have much of boxing skill. You know, he had that one punch, and that's that. Okay, and you know,
after months of training for it, Wilder Fury 2. Here we go.
You know, improving his skills. He hasn't been working on his boxing skills, I don't think. I don't know who's trying to think. Mark Breland trains him. I don't know. Mark Breland, you know, if Mark Breland is the one that's training him, he's not.
Wilder comes in with a right hand. Tries to back him to the rope, and
Breland, I remember Mark Breland from when he was in the Olympics back in the day.
Show up here.
When he became
Fury
pro.
on the attack.
It's sorry he didn't last too long. Okay, he won a few fights, but then he started losing because I think I don't know, but at the end of the day,
here comes Fury stepping into it.
They're not doing a very good job.
Good jab by Tyson Fury.
The good thing Tyson Fury is doing right now is being pressed right now. He's staying under his legs.
Okay, and,
obviously, Wilder wants
he
to
needs
get
to
that
really
closer
improve
to the chin for
his
more
boxing skills.
He's got it cocked,
like
and
I said
the
before,
movement is looking like he wants to take
didn't really fight anybody coming up. And he could have fought Klitschko,
by Wilder that comes in from long range.
But he never did.
Get out of the way of that right hand.
And
if Deontay doesn't jab, Tyson Fury would jab.
well, I guess if somebody knocks you out twice, in sparring, you probably have, second thoughts about after the fight, in front of an audience. So, I mean, maybe that's what it was, but we have to, we have to compare what Wilder, look at what AJ Anthony Joshua did. He fought Klitschko in his 19th fight. Okay, if Wilder would have fought Klitschko when he became champion, that would have been like his 33rd fight.
Fury comes in behind the jab.
But he didn't want to do it. I mean, for people that don't, know about that, let's look at this. Okay, here's a article about Wilder. This is Shelly Finkel, his manager at the time, saying that Wilder will not be rushed to Klitschko, says Finkel. Okay, and he's down here. He says that Wilder is a baby, blah blah blah. He's this and that. So I mean, this was when Wilder became a champion. Was it 2015, 2014? I believe. I don't remember exactly, but. That was the the consensus from the Wilder camp at the time, and Wilder didn't come out and say anything different, so I guess he agree with it. I mean, that was his manager, but Wilder didn't come out and say no, that's not true, I'm ready for Klitschko, I want those 3 belts. Not at all. He just stayed quiet. So we see that Wilder didn't really want any smoke with Klitschko back in those days, but it took a guy like AJ to come from, a young guy like AJ, 19 fights, brand new champion, to come and take, the belt from Klitschko, okay? And as soon as he took the belt from Klitschko, then all of a sudden, Wilder wanted to fight AJ all of a sudden. He didn't want to fight Klitschko, but now he wanted to fight AJ, okay? So he claimed. I don't really believe it, okay? I don't think he really wanted AJ, and I think if he would have fought AJ, he probably would have lost, okay? I mean, I don't think AJ is as good a boxer as Fury, but I still think that he's good enough probably to beat Wilder, especially in the way he's fighting now after the Ruiz fight. Okay, if he fight the way he fought with Ruiz, he could beat Wilder easy. So Wilder, as a champion, in terms of the people he fought, I mean, personally, I just see it as a big disappointment, his career-wise. He didn't really fight, he didn't really seize the moment and tried to become great during his career. He basically just fought, safe fights, easy fights, mostly bums, and kind of like Gary Russell. I mean, I don't want to keep comparing them, but they both was in the 2008 Olympics, I believe. So they both have similar careers, in the way their careers played out. Not really, kind of disappointing. Not really, amounting to much in terms of the opponents that they fought in the big fights that they could have had. Okay, I mean, Wilder had every opportunity to get. I mean, how could you not want the 3 belts from Klitschko? Okay, I mean, can you imagine if Wilder would have took those belts from Klitschko? What kind of? I mean, it would have been. I mean, it would have been. That would have been huge. Okay, but he never really tried. I mean, how can you not do it? And this is what this. Now imagine that, right? His manager is saying he wasn't ready for Klitschko when he was a champion. He never came out and said anything. Okay, but when Klitschko retired and said he was gonna. After Klitschko retired for a few years and decided that, I think it was last year, he was talking about coming back. Let's hear what Wilder had to say after then, okay? Listen to this.
Not a pay-per-view fight. Shelly was just talking about Vladimir Klitschko. A lot of rumors about him training, possibly coming back after this fight. Would that be something you'd want on pay-per-view?
Nah. We'll still have to see what he does. You know, we'll build, let him get back in there and build him up. I mean, look, Klitschko, you know, when he fought Joshua, he was out for what, 2 years?
2 months.
You know what I mean? And it came back and lost and stuff. So, you know, he got to build himself back up. You know, he can only live off his name for so long. You get to the point where that fighter that used to be, you know, where you was. You know, I can't say used to be somebody, because he's still somebody. He's still Klitschko. I mean, he done amazing things in the career. You can never take that back. Even when I went to camp with him, I learned a lot of things from him. So you can never, you know, take that from him. But, you know, the fighting scene, when he come back, you gotta build yourself back up, you know, especially with someone like me, because I'm coming in for the kill. You know, I ain't playing around with nobody, you know, and I don't think he'll.
Okay, so there it is. So he's coming in for the kill if Klitschko comes back, but when Klitschko was there, he didn't go for the kill against Klitschko. So, you know, these guys, man, I don't know. I mean, you know, these guys, you know, I mean, it's just, a lot of these guys are just talk. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, there he is, you know, talking about if Klitschko comes back. Yeah, you had years to fight Klitschko and you didn't fight Klitschko. But now that Klitschko retired, you talk about if he comes back. I mean, come on, Deontay, man. What are you talking about? Okay? So, again, unless Wilder improves his boxing ability, there is no way he will beat Tyson Fury. He will lose for the 3rd time. As far as I'm concerned, he lost the first fight, he lost the second fight, and he will lose the 3rd fight unless he improves his boxing ability. Okay, that is clear. Okay, and so all this talk about glove gate, this, that, the other, if there was no glove gate, he still would have lost, because there was no glove gate in the first fight and he lost that fight. Okay, and Klitschko was even nowhere near 100%. I mean, not Klitschko, Fury wasn't even nowhere near 100%, and he still beat Deontay Wilder in the first fight, and he stopped him in the second fight. The fight went basically the way it was supposed to go, because, you know, with the fact that he wasn't anywhere near his top condition in the first fight, and he was able to beat Wilder. It only goes to show that in the second fight, if they fought again, he'd probably stop him, and he did, because that's just the natural progression. Because he was in better condition in the first fight, I mean in the second fight, than he was in the first fight. That is Fury. He came in better condition. He was, you know, near top condition. So it happens, you know, that's just natural. Because like I said, if you could beat Wilder where you only 60 to 70%, of course you're gonna beat him where you 90 to 100%, and that's exactly what happened. Okay. So, you know, I'm looking forward to the next fight that they're gonna have. You know, all this talk about glove gate, this, that, the other. So let's see what, you know, and then, you know, there's all this talk out there about, you know, I hear people talking about, oh, you know, Wilder's Fury is killing the media. It's killing old media. It's killing, you know, the Fury. What the hell are these guys talking about? What can he say? What can Wilder say? There's nothing he can say. All he needs to do is do what he's doing now. Keep his mouth shut. Stay training hard and working on his skills, and then come back and do what he has to do. Okay? There's nothing he can say. Okay? What is he going to say? He lost. He got knocked out. He got stopped. Okay? He lost the first fight and he got stopped in the second fight. What is he going to say? Okay? I mean, you know, so there's not much you can really say. You just have to go. I'm just hoping that Wilder is in the gym working hard, you know, like a demon, so that he can come back and beat Fury, okay? Because that's what he's supposed to do, okay? Not, you know, come out here and run his mouth and talk about glove gate this or glove gate that, you know, which he hasn't been doing, which is good. But he needs to stay in the gym, work on his craft, and come out ready for Fury in the next fight. And I hope that's what he's doing, okay? Because that's what he's supposed to be doing. But then again, unless it's a dramatic, and I do mean dramatic, okay? It has to be a miraculous, okay, improvement in his boxing ability. There's no way he's going to beat Tyson Fury, okay? That's just the facts, okay? Unless there's some kind of miraculous just like how we saw AJ improve in his first fight, in his second fight against Ruiz, okay? you know, that's the kind of improvement we need to see with Deontay Wilder for him to beat Fury the third time. Beat Fury in the third fight, and you know his job is going to be a lot tougher than the job that Anthony Joshua had against Ruiz, because in the second fight with Anthony Joshua and Ruiz came in out of shape, slow, and so you know AJ changed his style and was able to defeat him. Okay, but I don't think that Fury is going to come in out of shape in this fight with Deontay. But you never know, because Fury, you know, he has head problems sometimes, and you know he might come in out of shape. Who knows what he's doing now? Okay, but he might come in out of shape. You know, maybe, who knows? You know, you never know with Fury. But one thing is for sure. Okay, Wilder's job is going to be, you know, a lot tougher than what AJ's job was against Ruiz. You know, against Fury, his job is going to be a lot tougher, because the difference, you know, in boxing skills is so wide. Okay, I mean, Fury is such a better boxer than Wilder that, you know, Wilder need, like I said, miraculous improvement to come and be able to actually stay in there with Fury for the third fight. So, you know, we're gonna see what happened. I mean, you know, maybe he did do all the improvement, and maybe he's ready to fight Fury. Maybe he's ready to take his title back from Fury. You know, me, I have to see it to believe it. From what I've seen from Wilder in his career so far, it doesn't give me much of a hope that that's going to happen. But you know, and you know, anything could happen, and so hopefully, you know, he's actually out there, you know, training and not listening to all this Glovegate nonsense that people are talking about. Okay, so you know, because that's not going to help him, this Glovegate thing, because he doesn't have a title anymore. Well, Fury had it, and so what he needs to work on is not, you know, Glovegate. He needs to work on training. Okay, training himself, getting ready for the next fight. Okay, and that's what he should be doing, and I hope that's what he's doing. Okay, and not listen to these, you know, people out here making these ridiculous comments. Okay, so again, Glovegate or no Glovegate, I don't know if it's real or if it's not real. I have to investigate it myself. I'm not going to listen to what people are saying out there. Okay, I need to do that, investigation myself. When I do it, I will make a video on it. Okay, and you know, I'll put it out there. But like I said, Glovegate or no Glovegate, unless Deontay Wilder improves his boxing ability and his boxing skills, you know, by a factor of at least 50% or more, maybe 100%. You know, he needs a lot of improvement to beat a guy like Fury, because Fury is just a good boxer. I mean, he's an elite boxer. Fury is a great boxer. Okay, and you know, I just don't see Wilder beating him. Okay, unless there's some real improvement that I can't even think about. So we got to see that, and hopefully that's what he's doing. Like I said, he's out there, you know, working hard and getting ready for the next fight. I'm looking forward to the fight. I would love to see it. Okay, I would love to see a Wilder come in there in good condition and actually box and, you know, show some boxing ability. I would love to see that, because like I said, if Wilder was able to box with the power that he has, he would be unbeatable. Okay, nobody would be able to touch him. But again, you know, he hasn't really shown much interest in improving his boxing ability, or maybe just the people he's training with. He really should take up Mayweather's offer to train him, because he can use that training. He needs it. He needs some kind of training, because whoever is training him now in terms of his boxing really hasn't been doing a good job. I'm sorry to say that, but you know, he hasn't, because Wilder's boxing ability is non-existent, basically. Okay, so you know, that's all I have for now. I'm gonna kind of leave it there, and you know, I'll see you on the next one. This is TB Boxing. I'm out.